A yellow? One sherry. Tie. By the way, who's looking after the shop?
Nobody's looking after the shop.
Oh.
Oh, thank you.
Shouldn't there be somebody looking after the shop?
Yes?
But there isn't.
No.
Come on then, let's have it.
What?
Explanation for why nobody's looking after it.
Well, I've just walked out, Bet, that's why. I closed the shop door and locked it behind me, and if I'm not there, there's nobody there, is there?
Oh, are you feeling a bit browned off, are you, love?
Just cracked, Bet, mentally. My space has been tight all morning, and then it sort of spread up to my head like a tight band. Well, then when Mrs. Bridges came in and accused me of selling her daughter a certain magazine, which I hadn't, because I'm very particular about that, but I only ever sell them to adults, and then only if they look normal.
Really?
Well, when she'd gone, I just put my coat on and walked out. I mean, I don't even remember how I got here.
Oh, well, that's novel, love, because a lot of folk what come in here don't remember how they get home. Well, you know what you want, don't you? You want some help. It's too much for you on your own.
I know that, Bet. I mean, getting up at the crack of dawn and working all day long. And then, you see, when I go to bed, I can't sleep in case I miss the alarm and don't get up to get tired all over again.
Tell Len.
Oh, tell Mr. Fairclough. I've told him umpteen times. Well, not lately, because I haven't seen him.
Well, if I were you, I'd do something about it yourself before you really crack up.
What do you mean, pack it in like I'm noticing?
No, take somebody on, hire somebody. God knows there's supposed to be enough about looking for jobs.
What, without Mr. Fairclough's permission?
Well, if he's mizzled, you can't get his permission, can you? And that's his fault.
Well, you can't go through life with a tight band round your head, can you?
It'll leave a red mark, love. Hello, Mrs. Walker. Been having 80 winks, have you?
I've been reading the paper, as a matter of fact, Bet.
Should make it nice and cheerful, then.
What has happened to truth, Fred?
Pardon?
I said, what has happened to truth? One can no longer get an accurate picture of anything anymore. People either deliberately misconceive things, or else they simply tell lies.
Truth never existed, Mrs. Walker.
Of course it did. Jesus told the truth, didn't he? Isn't it one of the cornerstones of Christianity? Thou shalt not bear false witness.
Yeah, but it's all relative, isn't it? I mean, take me and the Scuffers. Their truth about a certain incident is bound to be different than mine, because they're trying to nick me and I'm trying not to be nicked. Well, it's the same with everybody. Same with bosses and unions, government and us. I mean, you see, truth is just what happens to butter your particular parsnips.
Aye, heck, Eddie, aren't you educated?
In the best school of all, darling, the school of life.
It hasn't done him much good, though, has it?
Precisely. If you will forgive me saying so, Mr. Yates, you are talking rubbish. Truth is what is true. Like, you're a man and I am a woman. Now, the decline of standards and the rise of the Philistine in my lifetime has been nothing short of disgraceful.
I wish you wouldn't get her going like that, Yates. We've got to live with her all flipping day, you know.
Yeah, but she's right, though, isn't she? Even I can see we're a rotten lot nowadays, and I'm one of your Philistines.
Where's the Gazette?
Madame's not released it yet. She'll be poring over the deaths columns and feeling smug.
Well, it's about time she released it, then.
Hiya. What's wrong with you two?
Nothing that a pint in a pot and lemon wouldn't cure.
Are you happy and contented by any chance?
Very.
Spoil sport.
Evening.
Hiya, mate. I'm not going to ask.
There's no need to. Go on, tell him, Stan.
We've had a windfall.
I'm very pleased for you.
I'd buy you a pint, but I see you got one.
It does happen, you know.
Oh, well, it's early doors yet.
Congratulations, Mr. Ogden.
Nice one, Stanley.
Congratulations, what for?
In the Gazette, Mr. Ogden's bequest, £100.
And a pot dog.
A lousy £100.
Well, you wouldn't turn your nose up at it.
True.
What intrigues me, Stan, she left you that money for being so cheerful, is that right?
Right.
And that's all?
Well, why else would she leave it him? An old woman like that.
Well, she's not always been an old woman, Hilda. Dora Entwistle used to be to Chapel Yard, what Elsie Tanner is to this street. That right, Stanley?
Is it?
I don't know.
Come and sit down, I want a word with you.
Thanks very much.
Are you getting the drinks tonight, Stan?
No, I'm not.
Who the hell?
Mrs. Tanner?
Yeah?
Dan Johnson.
Am I supposed to know you?
I thought young Ian might have mentioned me name.
Ian? Oh, you mean young Ian McAllister?
That's him.
No. Well, he didn't mention your name.
Oh, still, don't suppose you asked for a reference, do you?
Would you mind telling me what it is you want?
Diggs, love.
Diggs?
Lodgings.
Well, this isn't a lodging house.
Well, young Ian said he stayed here, recommended it, in fact. 5-star, he said.
Yeah, well, that was a one-off. I mean, I just helped him out. He'd know where to stay.
Neither have I, love.
Oh, you must be kidding.
I haven't. Not at this time. There won't be a bed left anywhere. Now I'd have to kip in my cab.
Oh, you're a lorry driver.
Only been on the road 20 years.
I've never seen you in a cafe.
Well, you haven't been open that long, have you? But word's getting round. Good nosh at fair prices at gyms. Not to mention a friendly welcome.
Have you, tried the hotels?
Hotels? I can't afford hotels.
Yeah, it's-
Now it's either here or the cab.
Are you sure you know young McAllister?
Now, we're great mates. You know, I can't understand why he never mentioned me. He certainly mentioned you. In very flattering terms, I might add. Cold out tonight, isn't it?
You better come in, then.
So,
Mind you, I'm not promising anything. This isn't a boarding out. I see you've come prepared.
just my pyjamas and a clean pair of socks.
Straight down the lobby. I must be out of my tiny mind.
Why?
I spend half my life doing bacon, beans and bangers at that cafe. And here I am in my own home doing it for a stranger.
Well, I was a stranger last night, but since then I've become a lodger. That's very different.
Is just one snag to that. This is not a lodging house.
Not according to young Ian.
I told you, young Ian got it wrong.
Well, I don't know. Not from where I'm sitting.
You know something? You're a bit fly, Dan Johnson, if you don't mind me saying so.
Fly? Me? I'm as straight as the M1. I'm the perfect lodger. I don't snore, I'm clean in my habits, I don't burn holes in the sheets. And I'm great company.
And you don't half love yourself and all, don't you?
I could go and have a cup of tea, love.
I've told you, and I'll tell you again for the last time, this is not a lodging house, and I am no...
That's a great bed you got up there, you know, love. I slept like a baby.
Oh, were you warm enough?
Oh, it's above.
Yeah, I put an extra blanket on. I don't care what people say, it's much colder here than it is in London. Whereabouts in London do you come from?
Oh, Wandsworth now. A flat. You know, it's that small that you stretch out in bed, you kick the cat off the window ledge.
How does, Mrs. Johnson manage?
Ah, there isn't one. Not anymore. Yeah, she got fed up with being married to a guy she only saw once a fortnight. Well, it's a job, isn't it? I'm either belting up a motorway or getting my head down in some tatty dig.
Oh, thanks a bundle.
Ah, this is an exception. I reckon I struck lucky here.
Just for once.
So long then, Elsie. Thanks for everything. Sure I've given you enough?
Oh, yeah, sure enough to cover my expenses.
Well, I'll be seeing you again.
Yes, you're welcome any time at the cafe.
Morning, Elsie.
Morning, Bet.
Morning.
Morning.
He had nowhere to go, so I put him up for the night.
Well, I hope he enjoyed his breakfast.
Marvellous.
Well, at least he's nearer your age than the last one you had. Ta-ta.
Friend of yours?
Oh, she has her off days. Well, I'll be seeing you.
Could be sooner than you think.
Well?
Well, she has she first.
Are you stopping now you're back?
Happen.
And Len?
He seems happy enough, if that's what you mean.
Ah, you're back for good then.
Well, we'll give it another go, yes.
I'll drink to that.
Cheers. Mind you, it won't be the same like it was before.
How do you mean, kid?
This time we're playing my rules.
Oh, has Len settled for that?
I don't think it's quite sunk in yet.
Oh, it's not going to be easy.
Do you think it was before?
The best of British, kid.
Me too.
Now, whose turn is it? Yours. I'll have a large whiskey.
A pint and a large whiskey, please, Beth.
Hey-o. Look who the wind's blown in.
Where do you fancy?
Oh, here'll do me fine.
All right. What'll it be then?
Well, will it run to a gin and tonic?
I'm the last of the big spenders.
All right, it's my turn next time.
I never argue with women.
Within a minute, Squire.
Don't go bursting a blood vessel, Fred. I'll attend to the gentleman. Yes, sir.
Pint of best bitter, please, and a gin and tonic.
Ice and lemon. She likes ice and lemon with it.
Ice and lemon it is then. And what's your name, darling? We seem to be seeing a lot of each other.
Don't we? Bet Lynch. Surprised to see you back again quite so soon. Wonder what's brought you back this time.
Would you believe a 10-ton diesel?
Witty with it.
Gin and tonic, pal.
So.
Who's that?
Elsie's latest lodger, Mrs. Walker.
Come back for seconds, has he?
Fred? There will be quite enough of that.
Looks a bit of a wild boy to me.
Yeah, lovely with it.
I've cased the joint, and you're definitely the best-looking woman in the place.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
Cheers.
I want it to go like clockwork. Start as we mean to go on. Now, we've all experienced cafes and the like where they're supposed to serve food, but where, in fact, they serve anything but, and very slowly at that. Now, do I make myself clear? Elizabeth?
Oh, yes, Mrs. Walker.
Fred?
Clear as a bell.
Fred?
Yeah?
Good. That is all, then. To your stations, as they say in the best restaurants, and I will work miracles in the kitchen.
While I work miracles in the kitchen, all she'll do is throw half a dozen packet soups into a pan of boiling water.
She reckons it's going to be homemade.
I'll believe that when I see it.
It's going to cause a heck of a lot more work, is this lot, I'll tell you.
Exactly, Fred. So it's a branch meeting, innit?
Definitely.
Well, what's it about then?
You think this is a pub, don't you, Hilda?
It is a pub.
A little grotty backstreet alehouse.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, it's the French restaurant at the Midland.
You are taking a notice of her, Hilda. Mrs. Walker's decided to extend the food menu, that's all.
We're into soups now, and sandwiches, and some at foreign before long, I shouldn't wonder.
We're having a meeting about it, Hilda.
Well, have one then.
You're in a different union.
You're not even in a union.
What's that got to do with it? Go and polish lavy chain or something. Go on.
I might just have been able to help, that's all. I've had a lot of experience with unions across at the factory. In fact, I once caused a strike.
You mean somebody mistook you for a match and tried to light a fag with you?
I'll tell you some of that, Lynch. Spill a drop of hot soup down that top you're wearing, your knickers will start smouldering. That's if you're wearing any.
Does anybody on a Mondays? They're all in the wash. Right, what we're going to do?
I think she's taken a dead liberty myself.
And the rest.
It's only a drop of soup we've got to serve.
It is not in our contract of service, Betty.
We haven't got one.
Not in it then, is it?
Extra work means extra money in my book.
We're due for a rise next week anyway.
Hey, you're right there.
20%. That's the going rate this year, and that's just for layabouts.
Hey, we've got a bargaining point, haven't we? Extra productivity, see?
Good thinking, Fred.
Thank you.
So you can be our spokesman, right, Betty?
Spokesperson, love.
Sorry. What's wrong, Fred?
Nothing's wrong. If you want me to represent you, I'll represent you. I'm not scared of Annie Walker.
Why have you gone white then?
Come on, before you go.
No, had enough of this place for one day. And if you'd any sense, you'd stop spending half your life in here and all. She only laughs at us behind us backs, you know. Oh, I thinks we're right comics.
What's got into her?
She's had one of them mornings, Stanley, when everything's been conspiring against her. Everybody has them, although your Hilda has more than most. Excuse me. That was quick. Have you got us a rise?
I never asked her, did I?
Why not?
You got cold feet, didn't you? I said you would.
The moment was not appropriate.
Hey, what's wrong with it?
Well, I got all this wrong, didn't I? She doesn't like pub grub and I've spelt minestrone wrong.
You think that's your trouble?
Go on, you spell minestrone, go on.
Stop changing the subject.
Hilda's got a point, you know, Stan. What would we do if we stopped supping here?
Sup somewhere else.
Yeah, but it's not easy, is it?
Flying horse, Legion.
Yeah, but you're conditioned to coming here by years and years of habit. You go down the flying horse, you'd end up shaking and crying in the corner. Isn't that right, lad? I mean, he'd be the same.
I'm not going to stop coming in here.
No, me neither.
I'm just warning you of the consequences, that's all.
One cheese on bread.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Walker.
Didn't you hear me calling?
No, Mrs. Walker.
Well, try to listen a little harder in future.
Yes, Mrs. Walker. There, Scouse, as you Sarnie.
Bread's a bit thin, isn't it, Fred? She hasn't exactly gone mad with the cheese, neither.
Well, don't get on to me. Get on to her that made it. Shall I go and get it for you?
Oh, no, I'm not complaining. I'm just commenting, that's all.
Sir.
Well, hello, stranger.
Hi.
How are you, love?
Oh, I'm fine.
Oh, how's Blanche?
Oh, she nagged me to death as usual, but yeah, it's bet that with me mother. Can I have a bag of crisps, please, Bet? Do you know that was the first thing our Tracy asked for when she got in? She reckons they taste different down there.
Everything does south of Manchester, love. It's a very funny world with some very funny folk.
Well, you really look well.
You say that as if I've been ill.
Well, you know what I mean.
Not really. Try.
How
That were a bit heavy-handed, if you don't mind my saying so, Betty, love.
What are you talking about?
Well, you might as well have just said it straight out.
What?
You're looking very well, Deirdre, considering it's not all that long since you were given the old Evo back, Barlow?
She was obviously very cut up about it. Well, according to Emily.
So why go dropping heavy hints, reminding her of the pain?
Which is something you never do.
Never. Subject's closed as far as I'm concerned.
Oh.
Hi, kid. He's there.
Oh, I can see him.
Why not order a quick vodka before he can refuse you?
No, I'm not stopping. I don't want to drink, love. Len, dinner's ready.
Be with you in a minute.
Change man, would you say?
I wouldn't say that. Pliant, more receptive. I mean, like this afternoon, we're going looking at houses. Who for? For us, Betty, love, for us.
I'm fit if you are, my sweetheart.
Ta-ra. New houses, eh? She'll never get him to shift from round here. Never in a million years.
Just depends how much of a shaking up he got when she left him. I reckon his teeth rattled. She could get him to move to Accrington now if she really tried hard enough.
Well, it's all been quite successful for the first day.
Yes, I've been getting some very good reports about that soup.
My dear, it'll taste like nectar to some of these people round here. Food of that quality, they're just not accustomed to it. To tell you the truth, I feel rather like a missionary.
Is that right?
There's still some left, but if you don't mind, I would like to put my feet up for 5 minutes. I feel rather exhausted.
Yes.
You know what'll happen, don't you?
What?
I'll give it a couple of days, be you in there doing the cooking.
Why me?
Well, she'll not trust me to do it, will she? She thinks I only use me cooker for drying me tights in.
Well, you do, don't you?
Yes. Yes, Kenneth.
Hello, what's all this then?
We're moving into the 80s, didn't you know? Everything you need to support life can now be got on these premises, and I do mean everything. You only ever need to leave them to sleep. Mind you, Stan's been doing that for years, right, Stan?
That's not wrong. I don't regret a minute of it.
Is the soup homemade?
What a question. It's the most homemade soup that's ever been homemade, right, Elizabeth?
Oh, absolutely.
Right, well, I'll have a bowl then, and a lager too, please.
Fred, one soup for Ken.
You get it.
She's having a break. It's a good time to raise the you-know-what. Get going. Deirdre's back. Still, I suppose you knew.
No, I didn't, as a matter of fact.
Oh, she was in here earlier, looking absolutely marvellous. I've never seen her looking so well. Like she's got a new lease of life, you know.
Good. I think I'll just take the weight off my legs.
Well, talk about me mixing it.
Well, he deserves it. He's treated Deirdre rotten. That's not allowed anymore.
You've got about as much chance of doing that as I have touching my toes.
Or even seeing them.
Hey, don't be cheeky.
Ivy, did you manage it this time?
She's in there cracking on. She's asleep. I nearly poured this flaming soup all over her. Where's Ken?
Over there.
I wouldn't mind another one of this soup, Fred.
Sorry, mate. This is all that's left.
Are you sure?
You cracking on, I'm lying.
No.
Glad to hear it.
Tell you what, when he does manage to talk to her, he's going to be feeling very bolshy.
Seems to work these days.
Just what I was thinking.
See you later.
Try, cock.
Ta, lovey.
Do you know, I thought 79 was a pretty savage year for me, but this year's turning out to be even worse.
I know what you mean, love. But isn't it like this for everybody?
I'm not interested in everybody, I'm only interested in me.
Well, you've got a lot to go at, I'll say that.
Negotiations successfully completed.
You are?
Just like that? I don't believe it.
We're getting a bonus for the extra graft, and we're also getting an annual rise.
How much?
What?
Bonus and rise, how much?
Well, she's not exactly said yet, like, give her a chance.
What exactly did she say, Fred?
Well, she said that she'd review our salaries.
That could mean anything. She could review them either up or down.
Well, she'll not do that.
What about the bonus?
But that depends on productivity, see?
She has promised you nothing, Fred. Do you know that? Absolutely nothing. You're about as much use as a chocolate teapot.
Can we have some service here, please?
I thought I did very well myself.
Well, you might be right. I mean, we'll just have to see, Fred.
A pint and a light bottle.
Don't be put off by the amount of me pots, Stan. I can soon shift that.
Suit yourself.
What, and you with all that money and me with nothing but fluff in me pocket? Do you know, I didn't know you had a mean streak. I didn't really.
Look, if we keep spending Stan's inheritance on the likes of you, Eddie Yates, we'll soon have none left, won't we?
And what about the pleasure of buying drinks for friends?
Well, I don't find it all that pleasurable, actually. Neither does Stan. Any road. After paying a few bills, we've not all that much left, any road.
I thought you weren't coming in here again, Hilda.
Well, where else is there for us to go? I mean, if I had the choice between here and the Café de Paris, I wouldn't even deign to walk past this door. As it is, well, this is us, isn't it? Forever.
You're right, Hilda. We're prisoners of our own environment.
I wish you'd shut up.
I can see nothing wrong with the environment. Suggest that.
I could suggest holiday in Acapulco. Doesn't mean I'm going to pay, does it?
Any road. We don't do it in mugs. We're more refined in this establishment. It comes in bowls.
What's so refined about bowls? Dogs eat out of bowls and so do cats.
You don't give up, do you? Talk about argumentative. If I say black, you'll say white.
You say yes, I won't say no.
Stanley, sup up and come on home. I'll make you soup if you want it. You're not paying no inflatable prices for packet rubbish, what they're serving here.
I say, any other country she'd be locked up. I'm saying, Stanley, it's a good job your Hilda lives in a country where they allow free speech.
Yeah.
Not giving the wife the benefit of your custom today, then?
Nah, I don't like going in there too often. Right, what have you got?
You mean apart from me?
Come on, let's have a look. There's not much difference, is there?
What do you expect, roast-sucking pig?
Well, Mrs. Walker said you were going in for proper food at dinner times now.
It is proper food, you cheeky little devil.
I know, but it's not cooked though, is it? You know, not like you have at the cafe.
I don't want to stand stinking of chips all day, even if Elsie Tanner doesn't mind. Get to cafe if that's what you want.
Nah, I'll have a minestrone and a pie, please.
Oh, minestrone. All your efforts weren't in vain, Fred Face.
I'm going through. 1 minestrone, 2 green peas.
What's up with you, any road? You don't exactly look the picture of newly wedded bliss.
Hey, do you get chatted up much in this job, then?
If I'm lucky.
Come on, I'm serious.
I am serious. It's best part of the job.
So you reckon all blokes think girls that wait on them are a fair game?
Take me round the corner slowly here, Pat. It's not me or my job you're asking about, is it?
They're always at it in that cafe, you know, on a gale.
I can imagine. Does she mind?
Well, she doesn't seem to. She just laughs it off, mostly.
They're a randy lot down there. Best thing she can do is laugh. And Chuck, it's best thing you can do and all. Forget the flipping bell for a minute. Hasn't she said out about you-know-what?
Look, I mentioned an all-round rise, and she said she'd think about it.
Well, how long does she want to think about it? 6 months?
Well, she's thinking we're losing money. You'll have to ask her again.
Why me?
Because you're a spokesman.
Yeah, you're the big, strong fellow who's got to protect us helpless little females and look after our interests.
No, you two, you're about as helpless as a flipping barracuda. All right, I'll jog a memory. Give them the right opportunity.
Excuse me.
Oh, look at them. Practically.
Would snogging be the word you're looking for, Hilda?
Disgusting at their age. Oh, give over, Hilda. There's no bar on folks being happy at any age. I mean, the world doesn't belong to the young, you know. You know, to see some of the newspapers and magazines of today, you'd think it did.
Good for you, Betty, you tell her. I hope I'm still at it when I'm her age. Mind you, that's not for another 15 years yet.
They certainly seem well suited, though, don't they?
If I could get a job at that cafe.
Oh. You don't fancy him, do you?
Well, let's put it this way, Chuck. I certainly won't kick him out of bed on a cold night. Oh, flaming heck. I get a heart attack every time that thing goes.
What is it?
Well, you've heard of the lutein bell, haven't you? This is the Walker bell. They both bring messages of doom.
Oh, stop your yattering. Are you going?
No, I am not going. You're the electronic genius what installed it. Get on your little bionic legs and see what Her Majesty requires.
All right, I'll go this once, but listen. We're having a different system in here. Different system. 1 bell for you, 2 for you, and 3 bells for me, right?
Right, boss. Oh, and while you're in there, remind her about our rise.
Oh.
Well, we better drink up if we're going. We've got a nice little chicken roasting in the oven.
I'll leave it. I'll take it for a curry.
Oh, no, it's all prepared by now. Perhaps tomorrow, eh?
Oh, I'm sorry, sweetheart. I can't tomorrow. I'm in Bristol. And that reminds me, Mrs. Poppy Thorne.
And who, may I ask, is Mrs. Poppy Thorne?
She gives me a bed when I'm in that area.
Oh.
Before you start thinking things, she's over 15 stone, well over 16. She's only got 1 tooth in her head. But she does do a very good B&B. I'll just go and give her a buzz, make sure she keeps the bed for me. Won't be a minute, love. And then it's homeward bound, all right?
To sing.
Come in, Mrs. Walker.
I'll have my morning coffee now, please, Miss Lynch. No sugar, and don't forget to put the milk in last.
You'll get morning coffee, all right, Hilda. All over your flaming head if you pull that one again.
Oh, well, you got to admit it's a bit of a giggle.
Have I?
Hey, anybody else in yet?
Yeah, Fred is.
Fred. Now, it's 3 rings for him, isn't it?
I wouldn't do that if I was you, Hilda. Not if you want to stop on speaking terms with the rest of your body. I don't think you'll find he shares your sense of humour. Not like me.
Would somebody mind telling me what's going on in here?
Nothing, Mrs. Walker.
And since when have I paid you for doing nothing, Mrs. Ogden?
I never said a word.
And why are you in that chair? Are you feeling ill or something?
I was moving it, wasn't I?
I should have thought there were more efficient ways of moving it than sitting in it. Now, you haven't forgotten, have you, that I want you to give the spare room a good going over. And the bed in the spare room wants making up.
No, I've not forgotten.
And I do mean a good going over. I don't want Mrs. Taylor-Brown to have any cause for complaint while she is under my roof.
Mrs. Taylor-Brown, is that who you're going to do with tomorrow?
It's a ladies' evening, actually, dear.
I didn't know she was stopping here.
Bet. It is one of the true delights of life to share your home with a warm and trusted friend whenever it is possible. Need I say more?
No, Mrs. Walker.
And, of course, it's not necessary to say that a lady of her standing in the trade will take more notice than most of the efficiency of the bar staff.
Yes, Mrs. Walker.
Now, don't let me hold you up.
No, Mrs. Walker. Yes, Mrs. Walker. 3 bags full, Mrs. Walker. I don't know how you put up with it, honest, I don't. I take it this Mrs. Taylor Thingy runs a pub and all, does she?
For your edification, Hilda, Mrs. Taylor-Brown does nothing so common as to run a pub. She happens to keep an inn and a restaurant of the very highest class in Derbyshire. I have heard it's even been mentioned in the local telephone directory.
Well, I think it's flaming diabolical the way she's got everybody jumping through hoops just because she's expecting visitors.
Just remembered, you will make sure there are clean towels in the bathroom, won't you, Mrs. Ogden?
Yes, Mrs. Walker.
You were saying, Hilda?
Shut it, Lynch.
I thought you were supposed to be rushed off your feet.
I'm entitled to a tea break like the rest of them.
Except that your tea comes in bottles, doesn't it? And that can't be doing you much good now, can it?
Nah, you're right. I suppose I should have something to eat. Have you got anything left?
Sorry, Chuck. Not a crumb. Present company accepted, of course. Hi.
Hi. You couldn't let me have half a bottle of gin, could you, to take out?
I could, but it'd cost you.
Not much choice, I'm afraid.
Well, don't tell Mrs. Walker I've told you, but the corner shop's still open. You'll get it cheaper there.
Oh, Tom. Remind me to do you a favour sometime.
Anytime you like. Are you not having one, will you?
Oh, better not, and late as it is.
Oh, well, if you find the company here so boring, don't let me stop you.
Boring. If I stop now, I'll be here till closing time.
You're a liar, but I'm not complaining.
You know, you must find it hard going.
What's that?
Chatting up every fella that comes in here.
I don't.
Find it hard going?
Chat up every fellow what comes in here.
I see. Well, I better be off. See you.
Like I said, anytime you like.
You want to be careful what you're saying, you know?
Oh, I am. And who I say it to.
Tell her.
Bye.
You know, I would have thought he was a bit rough even for your earthy taste.
Better than them on the smooth side, lovey. At least you know where you stand.
Trouble is, she might think I'm being a bit soppy.
What, remembering your wedding anniversary?
Well, we're not exactly a couple of kids, are we?
Oh, what's that got to do with it? I'll tell you something, Alf Roberts. I'd crown you if you're my husband.
So you think I ought to do something?
Oh, yeah, you'll go mad if you don't.
Right then, flowers it is.
Okay, having another?
I might as well. It's going to be a long night.
Oh, council meeting.
Oh, I should be so lucky. No, I've got that man coming. VAT. Hello, love. Don't usually see you in here.
No, it was Davis's idea, actually. Well, we thought we might as well give ourselves a night out for a change. Actually, we quite fancied going to the pictures, but we couldn't make our mind up where we wanted to go. And the longer we sat there, the more comfortable we got.
So you thought you'd come in here?
Yeah. No, well, what I mean is we thought if we didn't make a move soon, we wouldn't be going anywhere.
Go on, I believe you. Well, having a drink or just want to look at the evening news?
Well, I think I'll just have an orange juice, please. Emily?
That's fine for me.
Oh, wait, let me.
Oh, thank you, Al. Thank you.
Bet.
Mrs. Walker.
How nice to see you again. You had a good journey, I trust?
Yes, thank you, Anne.
No, there's no need for that, dear.
Oh, really? Well, if you say so.
I do, most emphatically. Fred, will you take Mrs. Taylor-Brown's case upstairs, please?
Right, Mrs. Walker.
Now, dear, before we go through, may I introduce you to somebody you'll love to meet? Alf, this is Mrs. Taylor-Brown, a very good friend of mine. Olive, this is Councillor Roberts, my ex-mayor. You remember I did tell you about my term of office?
You did indeed, and I'm very pleased to meet you, Councillor Roberts. I've heard such a lot about you.
Oh, have you? Yeah. Well, I'm very pleased to meet you as well, love.
Come on, dear.
Thank you.
Well, I like that. This is Councillor Roberts, my ex-mayor. What about Mrs. Betty Turpin and Bet Lynch, who do all the grafting while she's trying to impress all her posh friends?
Betty Turpin, I'm surprised at you. I thought you would have known by now that when it comes to social acceptability, some of us have got it and some of us haven't. Some of us haven't even got past the starting gate.
Yeah, we all know where we stand, don't we?
Exactly.
It's everything I imagined it to be, Anne. Very cosy.
Nowhere near as big a place as yours, of course, but then we do our best. Oh, it must be an absolute joy running a restaurant like yours, knowing that your clients appreciate every little thing you do.
They've got no option, have they? The prices they pay. Mind you, they do get value for money. I always try to give that. I noticed on the way through you do a spot of catering yourself. Lunchtime trade, I suppose.
On a very limited scale.
Now, don't decry it, Anne. Lunchtime catering has become an art in itself these days. It's not just a case of pea soup, hot pot and potato pie anymore, you know. Still, I don't have to tell you that, do
No.
I?
Now, I'm being very remiss, dear. Would you like a glass of sherry? It is rather special.
If it's all the same to you, dear, I'd much rather have a cup of tea.
Of course. Actually, the bell was Frederick's idea. He thought it would save me running in and out of the bar every time I needed something.
You don't know how lucky you are, Anne. I wish I could get staff like that. I really do.
Worth their weight in gold. Do you know, they won't let me do a thing for myself. Yes, Mrs. Walker. Oh, Elizabeth, yes. Do you think we could have some tea, dear?
Yes, right. Oh, I'll go and put the kettle on.
And, Elizabeth?
Yes?
The China tea service.
Yes, what else?
I'm not late, am I?
Oh, no, not much. Only half an hour. It's a good thing we're not eating till later, otherwise you've had 2 pork chops for earrings.
I had to get something, didn't I? Present for you.
What, another one? You must have a guilty conscience.
I happen to be a very generous fella.
Yes, I've heard from your friend Ernie. And before you say what's that supposed to mean, why don't you ask him?
I already have.
You have?
Ernie's got a big mouth, a very big mouth, and one day he's going to find it full of somebody's knuckles.
Dan, I never thought you were a picture of innocence, youthful innocence, when you first came into my life, any more than I was. But there's one thing I can't stand. That's fellas or anybody going around saying that I'm one of Dan Johnson's pieces, like I was bits of a jigsaw puzzle scattered all over England.
And he's a frustrated little nobody else. He spends the best part of the week away from home, tucked up in his crummy little pit with nothing but a cup of cocoa for company, thinking everybody else is at it except him. All right, so we have a few laughs here and there, I admit it. It's only natural, isn't it?
Look, what you do when you're not here is none of my business. I mean, I don't expect you... If I'd have wanted somebody that I wanted to put wraps on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I wouldn't have even looked at you twice in the first place. But there's one thing I want you to get into your head, Dan. Don't ever make a fool of me. Not ever. Now, are we going to open that, or are you going to thump me round the ear hole and walk out the front door?
You mean I've got a choice? You know, I could really fancy you when you're mad.
Oh, no, you couldn't. And don't you ever forget it.
Well, dear, I think we're nearly there.
Have you finished in the bathroom, Anne?
Yes, I'm so sorry to have kept you waiting.
Oh, it's quite all right, dear. I know it must be difficult with only the one bathroom. I dare say I'm quite spoiled at the Cavendish.
I must say you look charming.
Thank you, dear. Oh, I say. Oh, my word.
You like it?
Oh, yes, yes. I think you've been very clever, Anne.
You don't think it's
No,
true?
no, you've exactly caught the happy medium. You've certainly not gone too far.
Good. I like your frock, dear.
Yes, it is
and
rather
quite,
nice, isn't
quite
it?
slimming. Now, I wonder, would you mind pressing the back of my zip for me?
I'm sorry, dear. My nails are wet. I'm quite helpless.
5:30, Mrs. Walker. Shall I open up and let the ravaging beasts in?
I'll leave it to you, Bet. Bet, would you fasten the back of my zip?
Sure.
Be careful, dear.
Oh, don't fret. I've got violinist fingers. Always fiddling with something. What a ravishing pair. Talk about Bobby Dazzlers.
Thank you, dear.
Yeah, any red-blooded males that this do tonight, you'll trap long before Thorky Corky.
I don't think it's going to be quite that sort of affair, dear. In fact, I don't think that you would enjoy it.
Oh, be boring, will it?
No, it'll be quite splendid and rather gay.
You mean, it won't, will it?
Now, Bet, I know what you're meaning as a joke, but I refuse to abandon a perfectly legitimate word just because raffish elements have seized on it.
Good for you. Well, if I don't open up, we won't sell no ale. We don't sell no ale, bang goes that new pair of drawers I've set my heart on.
rather a rough diamond, I'm afraid, I'll bet.
Well, as they say, a precious stone is only as good as its setting.
Yeah, Mrs. Walker and a friend are off to one of those ladies' evenings tonight down at the Assembly Rooms.
Oh, it'll be Bella's big do, I bet.
What? They've been getting ready since this morning.
Somebody must have invited them. Did they say who?
Yes, you did mention her name. Bromley.
Oh, I know that bit, but Butcher, Arthur Bromley. You know, he's got them two butchers. He's got that covered stall in the market.
Oh, I knew you mean. Oh, I never did like his mince.
Well, his sausages are rubbish.
Well, let's not put Mrs. Walker off.
Oh, well, you know what they say, Betty. One man's meat.
Is that all you inside this outfit?
Well, there's nobody in here with me.
Well, you know what I mean. It all looks good. You just wonder if everything's genuine.
You what? It's Mother Nature's own produce. Guaranteed pure and unadulterated.
There's not a lot of that nowadays.
Huh, you can say that again. I mean, you don't need to trust, do you? Look at you. That could be a wig, and you could be wearing built-up shoes.
Well, if you're really curious, you'll have to get to know me better.
Well, that's up to you, isn't it? I mean, I know it's leap year, but I still think the fella should make the first move.
That's not going to be easy with your working arrangements now. You'll be on this bar every night.
Not every night. Like tonight, for instance, I finish at 7:30.
Oh, you know. It's funny. About that time, I might just be starting.
I'm feeling a bit peckish. Hadn't you better get home and see about the tea?
Oh, I'm not making no tea tonight.
What do you mean?
What I say, I'm not cooking no tea.
I've done now, honest.
I never said you had. I just fancy a change, that's all. I want to eat out.
Well, it's a bit parky, isn't it? And Jackson's chivvy doesn't overlap, right?
Oh, when I say eat out, I don't mean walking down the street eating fish and chips out of a newspaper, you great swinnick. I mean a proper sit-down feed in a cafe.
What do you think I'm made of?
Ooh, if I told you what I thought you was made of, Stanley, you wouldn't like it. Oh, look, I'm not talking about somewhere posh with white tablecloths and waiters. Although goodness knows some women get taken to places like that now and again. No, I just fancy eating somewhat I haven't cooked myself, that's all. You can take me to Jim's Caff.
All right, then you're paying.
Oh, my hecker's paying.
It's coming out the housekeeping. I'm skint. I'm on the floor.
Yeah, with all the other sweepings. Well, any road, I'm going round there for my tea. Anything you want, you'll have to get for yourself.
What time then? 8 o'clock?
Make it 15:15, I want to change.
Okay. Only, don't put it about, you know what I mean? They're a nosy lot round here. I'll see you later.
Hey, you're never going out with him, are you?
Why not? He's a fanciable fella, isn't he?
Selfish, fanciable fella.
She might think he is, but there's no strings attached as far as I can see.
You're asking for trouble, I'm telling you.
I'm not bothered about Elsie. It's every girl for herself in this world.
Large scotch when you finish chatting.
He'll tell you.
What?
Is everything fair in love and war?
Definitely.
That's what you're heading for, lovey. Thank you. War.
Oh, God blimey, Fred. What you got up there, son, eh?
Oh, don't you start.
That's his chauffeur's gear. Mrs. Walker makes him wear it.
I thought he was going to a fancy dress do as action man.
Oh, yeah, highly amusing. Give us a pint, Bet.
Sorry. Mrs. Walker's strict instructions. On no account is Fred to be given a drink before he drives us to the ladies' evening.
Oh, flipping marvellous. In it for 2 pence, I can tell her what to do with a flipping job.
Now's your chance.
Ah, Fred. Is the car ready?
Just outside, Mrs. Walker.
That's telling.
All cleaned, is it?
Yes, it's all nice and polished.
Crawler.
You're looking very smart, Fred.
Thank you, Mrs. Walker.
3 bags full, Mrs. Walker.
I expect it's all a bit different to this at your pub.
Oh, the Cavendish is not a pub.
Oh.
It's an old coaching inn, or was. Of course, I don't cater for the modern coach trade.
Fancy. Excuse me a minute while I brief my staff. Yeah. Now, you do realise, Elizabeth, that I should be sending Fred back.
Oh, she looks very regal, doesn't she? Every inch a duchess at the very least. I never get a chance to wear a long frock, or dress up at all, really.
The trouble is, Mavis, we never go out anywhere.
Oh, well, nowhere glamorous. I mean, nowhere where there's dancing.
If Mrs. Walker can do it at her age, I really think we ought to be a little more adventurous, Mavis.
So do I.
Now, Fred, don't forget you're coming back to collect Mrs. Taylor Brown and myself at midnight.
Right, Mrs. Walker.
Come on.
Mrs. Walker, you and your friend going to a ball?
You could say that, Mr. Tetlock, yes.
Where have you left Cinderella?
Pardon?
Well, you two going to a ball. Where have you left Cinderella?
Really, Mr. Tetlock. Come along, dear.
What a rude old man.
Albert, come here. I'm going to buy you a very big drink.
It was a smashing night out.
Terrific. You don't waste much time, do you?
I never see much point in hanging about. What are we standing out here for? Let's go in.
Oh, I don't know, Dan. It's not really my place. Alf and Reenie might not like it.
There's a famous answer to that, you know.
I believe I know the one you mean now you come to mention it.
Dan Johnson, I've got something for you. Here. You're not spending the night in my house, or any other night for that matter, so there. I suppose that's Billy Price, your best mate you stood next to me with.
Calm down.
Drop dead. And stay away from me. You played your rotten games too close to my front doorstep. Get back to the slag you've been with. Maybe you'll find she's a bigger mug than I am.
Hello, love.
Oh. Morning. Is Bet Lynch about?
Bet? Oh, it's a bit early for Bet yet, love.
No, she's not one of life's early risers, you know, and I'll bet.
Well, could you tell her I'd like a word with her, please?
Well, is it something that can't wait, love? You see, if she goes to bed late, she often don't get up till after 10.
And she was late last night, as it happens.
Yeah, I bet she was.
I mean, I'll give her a knock if it's something urgent.
No, it's too late. I'll catch up with her during the day.
Ah, well, we'll tell you what to see her, shall we?
Yes, she might do that.
Shall we say what about?
No, don't bother. I'm sure her hide's not that thick that she doesn't know what I want her for.
Do you know what all that were about?
I haven't got a clue. But looking at Elsie, I think we're safe for not knowing. Thank you, Mrs. Dilworth. Bye-bye.
Hey, Alan.
Oh, bless you.
I see Bet's in the land of the living. We might find out what Elsie Tanner was up in arms about then.
Hey, listen, don't you get involved. Them two are big enough to take care of themselves.
Good morning, Al. Good morning, Reenie. Good morning, cigarettes. 65p, worth every last p.
Bet?
Yes, love?
Elsie was in earlier. She said she wanted a word with you. Elsie Tanner.
Oh, I know you mean, love. I think I can guess why as well.
So where's Fred now, then?
About Derby, as you'd imagine.
What's he doing there?
Penance for losing Mrs. Walker's handbag last night. He volunteered to give up his day off so he could take Mrs. Taylor Brown home.
He volunteered? I don't believe a word of it.
Well, he felt he had to do something, and then, of course, Mrs. Walker decided she'd go with them and visit their journey.
Well, so he's got them both on the back seat now.
Yeah.
Like a couple of nesting pigeons, eh? Chewing at each other behind your ears.
And your little cup of poison, is that it then?
Yeah. Do you want one?
Can you afford it?
Not really, no.
Then I will.
Cheers, Mark.
Cheers. Cheers, then.
Yeah, cheers. Hey, was that you I saw over the road last night till all hours?
Yeah.
I saw your light on there.
I'm big sick of it. Apart from moving a bit in there, I'm working all hours that God send.
Yeah, it's easily done.
Yeah, I'm using too much of this stuff to keep me going.
Are you frightened it might evaporate?
Not anymore, I'm not. You can put another large one in there, please. Anyone else?
Erky Thump, no, I've only just started this one.
Just me, then.
Can I just check something first?
What?
That you've remembered me in your will?
Just get the drink.
Just get the drink.
You know...
Hey, you know I had Elsie Tanner in here last night telling me how, you know, that fella.
Dan Johnson?
Yeah, I was out with his mates and I'm saying, oh, yes, Elsie. No, Elsie. Knowing full well that you were out with you.
I bet you were great, Betty, love. I just wish I'd have been here to see you.
Yeah, well, don't you think you can get away with tricks like that forevermore? I mean, folks round here, you know, they're not as dozy as you think they are.
Hello.
Look who's just come in.
Oh, you mean our ex-supervisor's gone to serve on at Greasy Joe's?
Oh, she were all right with Elsie.
When it suited her.
Well, she wants supervisor, you know. I mean, you have to be a bit laddie down in that job, don't you?
Do you? Yes, love. I don't want to drink, Betty. I'd just like a word with Madam there, if you don't mind. Bet, if you don't mind. She wants a word with you, does Elsie?
How does she?
It's not about that fella, is it?
Why not ask her?
But we don't want the slanging match in here, love.
Elsie?
About last night.
I thought it might be.
What game do you think you're on?
Look, Elsie, I'm sorry that you had to see us like you did.
Oh, you mean you'd rather I hadn't found out at all?
I know how you must have felt, and like I said, I'm sorry.
Is that all you've got to say?
Well, there's not a lot more I can say, is there?
Well, I can, and I'm warning you, lady. Don't you ever try and make a fool of me again like that.
Try and make a fool of you, Elsie. I wasn't even trying.
Now, listen, you, once and for all, if ever again you put your sticky fingers on any fella that belongs to me, I'll knock that stupid peroxided head right off your silly shoulders.
Do you know, it's funny. I don't remember him, Dan, mentioning he ever had out to do with you.
No, well, he wouldn't, would he? He wouldn't have chance, not with you throwing yourself at him like he was the last man alive. Did he know that you throw yourself at everything in trousers that comes through that flaming door?
Funny you getting so upset, Chuck. I was under the impression he was under your roof as a lodger, bed and breakfast.
Now, don't you get clever with me, madam.
I thought you saw him last thing at night and first thing in the morning. Of course, I could be wrong.
You could be very wrong, so watch what you're saying. There could be
Elsie,
you can't even keep a fella of your own, can you?
At least I don't hold open house. Bring your lorry to Elsie Tanner's.
You cheap foul now,
I suppose the older you get, the more jealous you get, eh?
All right, I've heard enough. Now, come on.
Definitely had enough. Shouldn't you be saying that to that bag?
Look, it's you that's working
For
here.
God's sake, forget about the whole damn thing. She's on home territory here. Don't forget that.
Well, hey, wasn't it great? What's been going on? I don't know, but wasn't it great? Hey, it was better than wrestling on a Saturday afternoon. Hey, must be them lodgers she's been having. She said lorries, didn't she? Lorries. Hey, come on, we'll get sacked. All right.
Hey,
What?
packet of cheese and onion crisps.
I mean, no disrespect, but... Well, I don't think you should have said that.
I knew as soon as I opened my big mouth.
I mean, the way things are.
I know, me and my big gob.
Did Emily say?
No, she's never even into cracked.
I bet you started to thinking, though.
Yeah, well, it wasn't only me, you see. It was Alf and Reenie as well. They were into it.
Well, that's the way they are, you know, making remarks. How were they hinting?
Well, you see, Emily mentioned that Dearie might get this job. Then Reenie says, who's looking after Tracy? And Emily says, I am.
There you are, you see, digging.
Yeah, and then, you see, Reenie says, full time.
See what I mean?
Yeah, and then Alf chips in.
Well, it does.
Yeah, I know. And then, you see, Emily just looked at me and I looked at her and I opened my size 10 mouth, didn't I? Oh, me and my big gob.
Oh, well.
You're a right Job's comforter, you are. Right, I'll see you back at the Ritz.
Right.
Bye, Bet.
Got to admire Elsie, haven't you? She never holds a grudge.
As long as you'd hold on to a red-hot poker.
If only I'd have known she was that dead nuts on Dan Johnson.
Yeah. Least said, soonest mended, love.